I'm Terry Jensen. I'm the pastor of First Baptist Church, and you are with me through the week. Yeah, it's Thursday. Boy, time just flies, doesn't it? I tell you what, man, uh, the days are just melting into each other, especially since, well, we've kind of quarantined ourselves here at the house. Uh, um, Kathy's getting better with the shingles. Things are progressing well, but we're just kind of here. Uh, the state wants us to not wander about, so we're not doing that sort of stuff. We're here, and church is suspended for a bit, and we'll let you know about when we're going to reopen, okay? But right now, we're just chilling, taking it easy, not getting sick, not helping others to get sick. So, we got some good things that are coming up. By the way, my daughter, Megumi, she's going to be coming home tomorrow. We're going to go to Western University and go get her. And, oh, for all of those who have been praying for us and been, uh, well, thinking of Kathy, uh, really want to thank you. Most of you know that her oldest brother, Joe, passed away, uh, a sudden heart attack. And so we elicit prayers for his widow, Rosemary, and all the family. So next week we'll be going for the memorial. And tough times. 2020 has just been a stellar year. Yeah, right. That, by the way, was the look of sarcasm. Yeah. So, last week we were taking a look at a quote, and it was discussing our participation in the world and what it means for Christians to become subsumed to the world. Today we're going to continue in that vein. And this is a quote that I put up on Facebook also and got some reaction to, and we'll discuss some of those reactions. But for right now, let's go to that quote and take a look. I am wired by nature to love the same toys that the world loves. I start to fit in. I start to love what others love. I start to call Earth home. Before you know it, I'm calling luxuries needs and using my money just the way unbelievers do. I begin to forget the war. I don't think much about people perishing. Missions and unreached people drop out of my mind. I stop dreaming about the triumphs of grace. I sink into a secular mindset that looks first to what man can do, not what God can do. It is a terrible sickness, and I thank God for those who have forced me to, again and again toward a wartime mindset. That quote comes from John Piper out of his book, Don't Waste Your Life. Don't waste your life. And what he's really discussing is not so much that we have to extricate ourselves totally from secular society. That's not what he's talking about. What he's really talking about is that point where we look at secular society as being the norm for our thinking and our actions. When we begin to act like secular society, in so much that we think It is the answer to all our needs, all our questions. We begin to walk away from God. And once we begin to walk away from God, and He does not become the focus of our thinking and our needs, then we begin to run adrift. You see, looking at the world, and I need to point out that a buddy of mine who uh, is really science minded and questions the reality of God. But he's one of my oldest friends, and I love him dearly. Uh, he wrote me on this quote and challenged me and said, "Look, man, when President Trump when he got COVID, he didn't look for God or his cronies, religious cronies. He didn't go to them. He went to the doctors." And that's a valid point. It really is a valid point. But my contention is this, that in a sacred mindset, I understand that God gave us medicine. In a secular mindset, it was Jonas Salk who cured polio. In a sacred mindset, all of those things that help, like technology that's allowing me to connect with you right now, those come from God. In a secular society, they're the invention of man. It isn't that I believe that secular society has no value. Those things that come through the hands of man and the ingenuity of man, I do believe are of paramount value. Yet, I believe that they are not the invention of man. They're not because of man, but they are because of God. These are gifts from God. Medicine is a gift from God. Even the scriptures even tell us that government is a gift from God, that He gives our leaders to us for our benefit. So, to reply to my friend, he's right. And I'm right. We're both right. Science has a place in our world, a very, very important place in our world. It helps us to understand what God has done and what God is continuing to do. It gives us a handle on things, a concrete handle, because so much of what God does is in the shadows. We don't really see everything that He's doing. We don't catch all the things that He's telling us. Sometimes we do, but most of the time it comes like what Paul said, we look through a glass darkly. So this passage to me, or this quote to me, is talking about surrendering our faith to the world, allowing our faith to be, I'm not going to say corrupted, but I am going to say that our faith becomes secondary to what the world produces and claims as being theirs and truth. I believe all truth emanates from God. And I believe that although secular society or secularism has its place, I do not believe that it should play first chair to God. I believe that all things are of God. All good things come from God, our Father of lights. All things that are good. But I don't think that secularism is necessarily bad until it becomes an idol and we become idol worshippers. When we begin to worship what the world has to offer instead of worshiping the Lord, then it becomes a problem. You see, the world has so much to offer. And I mean, just like the background, this background behind me, it comes from some picture of some place. Look at the beauty of it. Now, there are those who would claim that this is the beauty of the world. However, I claim that this is the beauty of the imagination of God. And it is through this wonderful imagination that we have this beautiful scene. And the world has the beauty that it exposes to us. First, in Romans chapter 1, Paul tells us that all of nature was created so that it could expose God in all of his beauty, in all of his creativity. And by the way, this green halo and the bad chroma key, that's because I moved my office from the church to my home because we're kind of quarantined. And the lighting I have in my basement is terrible. However, I'm going to fix it. But I do want to let you know that denigrating science and denigrating medicine, denigrating those things of the world is in fact denigrating the creativity and the imagination of God. So don't put it down. Accept it. Love it for what it is. But don't allow it to take the place of God. It doesn't. It can't. It is from God. It is a part of His creativity. So we really aren't as far apart in terms of sacred and secular as many would argue. Yes, there's a dualism there. Yes, there is a distinction that we have to maintain. But no, we don't have to criticize and denigrate one thing over the other. It's not bad that Christians, well, you know what? I think personally, this is heresy according to Terry. I think it is bad that Christians look at what God has created as bad, like medicine, like science, like the universe, like exploration, ingenuity, curiosity. I think all of those things, when when Christians point to it and they just squint their eyes and go, I think that's wrong. But I do believe that secularism, secular society, they do the same thing. They criticize God's creativity and ingenuity. They claim all of the things that God has created as their own. Some do, and it's in varying degrees. Some just flat out claim that everything, that God doesn't exist. Others claim they don't know. And others, you know, or in a lesser degree if I don't know. But my point is this: as you walk throughout this world, recognize that it is God's creativity, ingenuity, His own desire for uh, growth, and His own desire to see things blossom and bloom and flourish, that we have the world we have. Enjoy this world, but don't think that it's because of us. No, it's because of God. It's because of His greatness that all of this is laid before our feet. Kind of cool, huh? All right, well, that's it for me. I'm out of here. Bye.